45 different animals in the Animal Crossing series. Everyone has their favorite and least favorite of every species, and I thought I'd share mine with you guys today. I'll be doing this in alphabetical order of species, so we'll be starting with the alligators and ending with the wolves. Before we get started, please remember to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. I do stream about 5 days a week between here and Twitch. First up are the alligators. Gail is my favorite alligator. She's so sweet and so cute. She's also a normal villager, which is my favorite personality type. I just think that she's so fun since she's light pink with little hearts all over her. I absolutely adore Gail. I also had her in my New Leaf town for like forever, so she's one of my best friend villagers too. My least favorite alligator is Allie. She's a snooty villager, which is one of my least favorite personality types. She also has really ugly lipstick on, and while she would add a fun pop of color to any village, I do think that there are villagers that could do it a lot better than she would. Okay, next up is anteaters, and I hate all of them. Like, I'm just gonna preface that. I hate the anteater villagers. I have like an irrational fear of tapers, and they kind of just look like tapers to me. Annalisa is the least of the evils, but I still would not have her in my village. I do think that she's cute and she's a normal villager, but I can't get past the taper look. Obviously, the worst anteater is Olaf. His hair looks greasy. He might actually be like my least favorite villager of all time because on top of like just being horrible to look at, he's an anteater. So he's just like an ugly taper in my eyes. The bears are so cute. I love them. This doesn't include the cubs. I'm just doing like the larger bears. My favorite bear is Kurt. I hated him at first. He moved into my New Leaf town and I was disgusted, but then he grew on me. He's always so grumpy, like even when he's excited, his eyebrows still look angry, and I just think that that's adorable. I love him. Klaus, or Claus, I don't really know how you say it, is definitely the worst bear. I have never had him in my town or anything, but he's just not very good to look at. An honorable mention for the worst bear is that Carol Baskin looking ass Paula. I just don't like her. Lucha is my favorite bird because he is just so weird. Like, he's like a little teeny tiny bird, but he's also like a luchador, and I don't know why, I just think that's really funny. Peck is my least favorite bird villager. I just don't like looking at him. His eyes are really scary. I just don't like him. Also, like, what the hell? There are so many cute bird villagers that I didn't even know existed. Stu is my favorite bull villager. I think he's a nice pop of color and would be a great addition to any town. Vic. Vic is my least favorite bull villager. I actually have an issue with Vic. So it's not even that I think he's ugly or anything, or like just don't like him. So I had a glitch when I used an amiibo villager. I was trying to move in Eric, and I used an amiibo card, and I kicked out Kid, and for some reason, Kid's house stayed, and I didn't want that. So I kicked out Eric with Vic. And I was like, okay, so we'll just move Vic out. And so I did the time travel method to try to kick him out, but I didn't know that the most recent villager could not move out. So I spent roughly 60 hours time traveling, waiting for him to get a speech bubble to ask to leave, for him to never ask to leave, because he was the newest villager. And because of that, he is my least favorite bull. Plain and simple. My favorite cat villager is Tangy. I love her. She is my in-game girlfriend. We are married. She's never leaving my town. I love her. Monique is the ugliest cat villager. She's not even charmingly ugly the way Cat is. She's just horrible to look at. She's also a snooty villager, which makes her even worse. My favorite chicken was easy. It's Benedict. He's stupid, dopey, charming. I don't know, I just love him. I had him in New Leaf and I was very sad to see him go. So this was the first animal where it was kind of hard for me to pick who my least favorite was, because I don't really hate any of them, but I guess my least favorite chicken would have to be Nox, and that's really only because I don't know him. I've never had him in any of my villages before, so that's why he's my least favorite chicken. Tipper is my favorite cow. I would absolutely love to see her walking around my town one day. Even though I don't really like snooty villagers, I do think that she is adorable. Naomi is really ugly. I've never had her before, but I hate her face. Vladimir is my favorite cub. He is so weird. He's Russian, and his skill is belly dancing. My least favorite crub is Tammy. She is like super sexualized online, and I hate that. I hate it. I am a basic bitch, so obviously I like most of the deer villagers. Eric is my second favorite villager of all time. He's got a really simple design. He's a lazy villager, and I love that he's like actually a moose and not like a deer. Like, he's so different looking from like most of the other villagers, so he's definitely my favorite deer villager. My least favorite deer is Fuchsia. Again, I don't like hate her, but I do think she's like a little over designed, and she's a sisterly villager, which is another personality type that I am just not particularly drawn to. I actually haven't had too many dog villagers over the last 20 years that I've been playing Animal Crossing, but I do like Butch. He is a cranky villager, and his skill is air guitar, which is really adorable. Again, since I haven't had much experience with the dog villagers, I'm gonna have to say that my least favorite is Butch. He's just ugly. Ketchup is my favorite duck villager. She was my favorite villager for a really long time, so she does hold a very special place in my heart. My least favorite duck is Freckles. Just horrible to look at. I don't mean to be a basic bitch again, but Apollo is definitely my favorite eagle. He was in my GameCube town. He's in the movie. He's just very cool. I don't really dislike any of the eagles, but Sterling is probably my least favorite. He just doesn't really stand out to me. Dizzy is my favorite elephant because he's really simple and he's a lazy villager, which is just adorable. Paolo is definitely my least favorite elephant. I haven't had many elephants in my towns, but he just doesn't stand out to me. He's kind of ugly, so I don't really like him. My favorite frog is definitely Ribbot. It's just so cool to see the robot villagers walking around your town. I currently have Sprocket, and every time I see him, I just get so happy and excited. My least favorite frog is Diva because one, she's ugly, and two, I had her in New Leaf, and I bullied her out of my town for about 4 or 5 months until she finally moved out, but it was like just every single day I'd be pushing her around and hitting her with nets, and she just would not ask to leave. So I don't like her. Kid is definitely my favorite goat villager. He was my first smug villager that I got in my campsite in New Horizons. I had never had him before, but he's just really funny. He does naked yoga around the village all the time. And he was just like a really pleasant surprise. I at first thought he was kind of boring looking, but after I had him for so long, I just fell in love with him. Velma is the ugliest goat, so she's my least favorite, sorry. I hate all the gorillas. Al is probably the best one because he's normal looking, and Rocket makes me want to peel my eyes out. I don't like any of the hamsters. Flurry would probably be my favorite one, but I still don't like her, and Apple looks like a Five Nights at Freddy's character, so I don't like her either. Biff is my favorite hippo. He was one of my best friends in New Leaf, and I was devastated when he moved out. He left me for one of my friends via Street Pass, and I was so mad. I don't really mind any of the hippos, but I guess Harry would be my least favorite one because he's just kind of ugly. Poppy is definitely the best horse villager. He's not even a horse. He's actually an okapi, which is sick. Savannah is an honorable mention here because she's a zebra, which is sick. Holton is my least favorite horse. I just think he's weird looking. He looks more like a jock villager than a smug villager. Not my favorite. I don't like any of the kangaroos, but Walt would be like the only one I would consider having in my town because he just looks like a retired old samurai. Astrid is my least favorite kangaroo because she just looks like a clown shoe. Eugene is definitely my favorite koala. He just has a really fun design. I honestly don't really dislike any of the koalas, but I guess Canberra would be my least favorite one. Just don't really like how they look. If I'm being honest, all of the lions are really bad. Leopold is probably the only one that I would put up with because I feel like if he was a real person, he'd be like a hot librarian. I don't know if that's like a weird reason to be okay with him, but that's my reasoning. I could go the rest of my life without ever seeing Rory's face again, and I would be fine. Nana and Sherry, or Cherie, I don't really know how you pronounce her name, are tied for the best monkeys. I think they're both really cute. Another Tammy in my least favorite list. Tammy the monkey is terrifying. Rod is 100% my favorite mouse. He is so bright and colorful and fun, and I love that he's a jock. I hate Bella. I don't know how anybody could like her. She's terrifying looking. I always end up with her in my towns too. Like, she's always one of my starting villagers, and that needs to stop. I hate her. Okay, so there's only 3 octopus villagers. My favorite is Octavian. My least favorite is Marina. I've had all 3 of them, and I love all 3 of them. I definitely don't dislike Marina. There's only 3 of them. The ostriches are so hard for me because I literally love all of them. Blanche reminds me of the Golden Girls. Gladys has a fun design. Sandy is so cute. Fleur is a freaking flamingo, which is awesome. But my favorite one is definitely Sprocket. I have him in my town right now, and every time I see him, I'm so happy he's there. Again, I don't dislike any of the ostriches, but my least favorite one is probably Phil. Just because I'm not drawn to him like I am the other ones. Penguins are my favorite animal, so this one's a little hard for me. Aurora she's probably my favorite penguin. She's got these like little beady eyes and she has a stutter when she talks, which is adorable. And then Boomer is just like the most boring one. I don't know. I had him in my town, I didn't mind him, but he's just not as interesting as the other penguin villagers. Rasher is definitely my favorite pig. I had him in my GameCube game, and it's been an absolute pleasure watching him become less of an asshole over the years. My least favorite pig is Truffles, and I think that that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think anybody likes Truffles. Oh my god, the bunnies. They're all so cute, but Bunny is definitely my favorite bunny because she looks like a little clown. I love that. She's so cute. She's my second favorite villager. She's just really fun. And then Claude is just like my least favorite bunny, but only because he doesn't really stand out from the other ones. I don't dislike him though. For the rhinos, Hornsby is adorable. He's like a little baby. And then Renee is super ugly and horrible to look at. Vesta is my favorite sheep villager. She looks like a little piece of candy corn, and I think that that's adorable. Muffy is my least favorite sheep. She's just like kind of scary to look at, honestly. Poppy is my favorite squirrel. She is a normal villager. She's so cute. She's bright red. I love her. She's pretty close to perfect. Ricky is the worst squirrel. He is like genuinely very hard to look at. Bengal is definitely my favorite tiger villager. I have a Bengal cat named Bagel, so she just kind of reminds me of her. I'm not a fan of Rowan. He just gives me Tony the Tiger vibes. Last but not least, the wolves. My favorite wolf is definitely Fang. I had never had him before New Horizons came out, and he was an absolute pleasure to have in my town. He is so pretty. It was just like amazing to see him walking around. He's stunning. Sky is my least favorite wolf villager. I don't dislike her. She just doesn't stand out from the other ones. That was incredibly hard to not say my favorite Pokemon every single time. Oh my god, the amount of times I almost said Pokemon instead of villager. I don't know how I did that. And that concludes my favorites and least favorites of every species. I'm so sorry if our opinions do differ, but at the end of the day, these are just my opinions. Again, please remember to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.